This episode is brought to you by our good friends at NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. I'm sure by now you've all gotten back into your Sunday routines, but they could be even better. With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get the most live NFL games all in one place, every game, every Sunday. And you can even watch up to 4 different games at once with multi-view, one of my favorite inventions of this decade. It's exactly what you need to catch all the action. Make your Sundays more magical. And also, YouTube TV is great. I got it this year. It's awesome. Sign up now at youtube.com/BS. Device and content restrictions apply. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 up front for 3 months plus taxes and fees. Promo rate for new customers for limited time. Unlimited more than 40 gigabytes per month. Slows full terms at mintmobile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Experian. Are you paying for subscriptions you don't use but can't find the time or energy to cancel them? Experian could cancel unwanted subscriptions for you, saving you an average of $270 per year and plenty of time. Download the Experian app. Results will vary. Not all subscriptions are eligible. Savings are not guaranteed. Paid membership with connected payment account required.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another series of Rival Recon here on Anfield Index Pro. I'm Harry Sethi, and as we count down to the start of the new Premier League season and a new era for Liverpool Football Club with Arne Slot at the helm, looking to build upon the strong foundations Jurgen Klopp left him. As ever, I want to thank you all of you for joining me this season as we shake off the cobwebs and settle back into the rhythm of Premier League football once again. For the Reds' first game of the season, Slot's side will travel to Portman Road to take on newly promoted Ipswich Town, who've been on a remarkable journey over the past few seasons under talented young manager Kieran McKenna. And joining me on the first part of the season, I'm delighted to welcome on lifelong Tractor Boys fan and a regular on Blue Monday, an Ipswich Town podcast. We're joined by Dave Dymond. Welcome on, Dave. Good to speak with you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Harold. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah, absolutely. I this is when I saw the fixture list come out, and saw the very first fixture for Liverpool. I mean, definitely had a chuckle to myself about the fact that it was going to be at 12:30. Definitely had a chuckle around the fact that a newly promoted side away from home and everything that comes with that. And so actually was sort of really intrigued to actually have a chat with you to understand just the journey that Ipswich Town have been on since the lower last in the top flight, and get more of an understanding, really to sort of all the hype I've heard around certainly one Kieran McKenna and the football he's got you playing. We'll definitely dive into that, but I'm going to ask you to just cast your mind back to last season, second place finish, promotion. Just give me your thoughts on how that season was. And maybe a little bit about the journey that the club's been on to get back to this point.
Yeah, I think it's best to start with that. So this, incredibly, we've been out of the top flight Premier League for 22 seasons. I mean, that's just mind-boggling. I just don't know where that went. Ironically, relegated the very last day of the season with a thumping 5-0 defeat at Anfield. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, that was a result that we were probably down before that, but that was a result that effectively put us down. A little bit just surrounding that, really. The season before was our first. We won the playoffs in 2000, so 2001 was our first year back in the in the Premier League after 4 or 5 seasons, and we finished fifth. Incredibly, finished fifth. In fact, Liverpool won, I believe, at Charlton. I think it was on the final day. And if they hadn't have won, and we'd have beaten Derby away, we drew. Liverpool beat Charlton. Pretty sure it's Charlton it was, and we drew with Derby. We'd have been in the Champions League. It's just nuts, absolutely crazy. Wow. However, that close season, finished fifth, and to be fair, that close season, I think we clearly overachieved that season. It was brilliant. We barely made any signings when we got promoted. But I think we made 3 main signings at the start of that season. But anyway, carried the momentum for the playoffs. And unfortunately, it didn't go so well the next season. We lost a couple of players. We signed a couple of overseas players, the goalkeeper Matteo Serini from Lazio, and we signed Finidi, the famous Finidi George, who was brilliant for like a half a dozen games. But anyway, that didn't work out for one reason or another. And we ended up getting relegated that season. And unfortunately, that was the season where we got relegated back to the Championship after 2 seasons. And the 2002, the ITV digital deal went kaput. So there was some, television money immediately gone. We'd invested heavily in the stadium as well, players on big contracts. So consequently, we didn't get back straight away. I think there was high hopes we were going to get promoted back immediately. That didn't happen, and players went. So high profile players had to leave. The club entered administration, and we, really been treading water in the Championship, other than a couple of seasons, 2004-05. We've got some consecutive playoff semi-finals, actually 3-4, 4-5. Didn't make it. Further players left, further, squad changing of squads. Managers came and went as well. We had one famous season, or just that season, with Roy Keane as manager. That didn't go well at all. So season started culminating with 2018, 19 of the treading water, really mid-table Championship side. We got relegated into League One. I mean, for the first time in like 60 seasons, relegated into League One. And we're really going nowhere. That was through the COVID season. We're really not really making much of an impression. And then, just over 3 years ago, 2001, the then owner, Marcus Evans, sold his controlling interest in the club to a US consortium called Game Changer. And everything talk about game changer, and then everything changed. That close season, we appointed Paul Cook as manager. We signed 19 players in that close season. So this had been the close season of 21-22. Would that be right?
19 players. Wow.
19 players. Honestly, it was honestly. But amongst those players, there were certain players like Connor Chaplin, Wes Burns, Sammy Morsey, who really have been, Christian Walton up to last season, who really have been the backbone of the team in the 2 consecutive promotion seasons. So to put it into context, Ari, these last 2 seasons, so we got up as, and won that, runners up twice, but runners up from League One in 22-23, let me get this right, with 98 points and 101 goals. And last year, runners up with 96 points and 98 goals. It's just, so I think it worked out. Over the last 2 seasons, we've won 194 points and scored 193 goals. It's almost a perfect symmetry. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. And the manager, a lot of that is just down to the manager, the style of football, the press, the high press, and everything around that. Everyone's bought into it. And what is quite interesting, the core of the team, I'd say, the core of the team, so 8 or perhaps even 9 of the team that got us promoted out of League One season before last were the core of the team that got us promoted last year. So this is where it will be a kind of an evolution, because obviously then to make a further step up, you're talking about a few of those players making a step up from League One into the Premier League in 2 seasons. So there will be some changes, and already we've made signings, 4 or 5 signings already this season, in the club season. I think it's no secret that more signings are being looked at. I think we need, still as a squad, we've got a couple of injuries, unfortunately, picked up in pre-season to a couple of key players. So, that was basically the story. The momentum we had from League One the season before last, we just carried it on to last year, and it was just sheer. I mean, I don't know if you even took note of any of the games. There was, I think at Portman Road alone, there was something like 3 or 4 games that finished 4-3. I mean, it was just crazy. 3-2s, 4-3. Never knew when we were beaten. Only lost 4 games all season. 2 of those were to Leeds. Just absolutely. 6 games. 2 of those were to Leeds. 4 games the season before. So we've lost 10 games in 2 seasons. It's just absolutely incredible. And a lot of that is certainly down to, as you quite rightly said at the start, down to the manager and and the staff and the will and the belief and the style of football he's instilled in the squad. Really.
I mean, that's almost the perfect segue, really, because I wanted to ask. So obviously, sort of Kieran McKenna, since his appointment, and you mentioned those consecutive promotions there, using the momentum to build through the second time around to get back into the top flight. And I just wanted to ask if to any of the listeners who've never seen the Kieran McKenna side play, or certainly Kieran McKenna's Ipswich Town play, what does that look like? You mentioned pressing there, of course.
Pressing, possession-based, very, very heavily possession-based from the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's an interesting one. We had, he wasn't our first choice. So the League One season, we had Christian Walton, who we got in from Brighton. Great goalkeeper, great shot stopper. Not the best with the ball at his feet, but he still would have been number 1 last season. Got a fairly bad foot injury pre-season last season. So we had our number 2, Blackleaf Kladke, played. It was evident from the start. He was absolutely superb with the ball at his feet. Sorry, a very good goalkeeper as well, but absolutely excellent with the ball at his feet. And he was a revelation last season. So very much we play a possession-based game. And subsequently, Kladke's been sold now to Burnley, and we've got a Burnley keeper in return. It wasn't part of the deal. We paid Aaron Muric. We paid something like 8 million for him. And I've seen him in a couple of pre-season friendlies, and he is, again, absolutely excellent with the ball at his feet, which is what the style of football that McKenna and the team plays is absolutely crucial to it. So that's a starting point, really. And it's very much possession-based. We have Leif Davis, who probably does the most assists, I think, in both League One promotion campaign and pretty much, I think, in League Two, maybe Somerville, maybe Edge, but a good half season for him, knowing what England's left back situation's like, and he could well be pushing to push into the England squad. Plays very high up, and it's a kind of double pivot there. So he almost plays as a left winger. What was interesting, so it's essentially a 4-2-3 last season, a very fluid 4-2-3-1. Wouldn't surprise me though if knowing what our first 2 games are, particularly being Liverpool, and then I don't know if you know, we've got Man City away, second game the weekend after. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes 3 at the back. But it's a very, very possession, patient-based style of football, easy on the eye, and it's you know how these teams play. Just basically looking to break the first press.
No, absolutely. Actually, I think it's going to be intriguing, certainly, as Arne Slot's arrival at Liverpool. A lot of similarities in sort of the style and approach, but based upon what you've just described there, and I think already there's been some people who've asked the new Liverpool manager some questions in press conferences about the 4-2-3-1, and he's sort of scoffed at, like, it's not always a 4-2-3-1.
No, it isn't.
Managers are very precious about that stuff, but I think that the styles will be quite similar, especially with the sort of the new kind of renewed focus on building up from the back in a slower, more controlled way, which wasn't the case under Klopp, right? So I think it's going to be interesting. It's
going to be intriguing, but Harry, I look at the Liverpool side, and it really, it's ridiculous. I look at the side. I mean, the front 3 against Sevilla was, I think, Diaz, Jota, and Salah. We haven't. I mean, Leeds Leeds didn't even get up. I mean, Leeds' front 5 were really good in the Championship last year, and they beat us twice actually. And they were sort of fairly scary, a scary thing. But I mean, I just look at the Liverpool side, those front 3, and my goodness me, you've got Trent almost playing right back, almost like a quarterback sort of thing. In the midfield, and that's who it wasn't. I don't think Gakpo played. I don't think Darwin didn't play. Nunes didn't play either. It's a scary thought. I think you know what? I think the genuine feeling around the support is of excitement just nervous anticipation, I think, is perhaps a good description of it.
Of course, I think as well, the fact that it's going to be a home game as well, I think will make that atmosphere even more incredible, to be honest. I think, are you going?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Season ticket holder. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I mean, it'll be virtually. I think their capacity's probably slightly reduced because of the all the work they had to do at the ground for the Premier League to hit Premier League standards. But I would have thought there should be. It's just obviously a sellout. I think every game will be a sellout, but there should be 28.5, perhaps 29,000, and it will be bouncing. And obviously Liverpool. Well, you're obviously very very much always brilliantly supported. So. I go back long enough to the days in the 70s, 80s when Liverpool used to come down with Dalglish and Souness and people like that. It's just superb to see it back again. It's brilliant.
Absolutely, and just to stay on Kieran McKenna for a little bit there. I mean, 38-year-old manager, who's had such success like this. I mean, you obviously would have been well aware of the interest in him, certainly when I think there were other managerial vacancies in the Premier League, right? So Chelsea seemed to be sniffing around. Yeah. And I'm delighted he didn't leave, as I'm sure you are as well. But I just wanted to get your view on what kind of figure he is, to be honest.
He's incredibly well respected. It's clear to see that by the players. All these players that he signed and the players even he had on loan last year have come in and said that he's just improved them improve them as players generally. I mean, he had I don't know if you know much about his background. He was a Spurs academy player, had a really bad injury. He was really young, like 21, had to retire at 21, and then went to Loughborough, got his coaching, went to Loughborough to study and got his coaching badges, taken on by Spurs, then went to Man United under Mourinho.
He wasn't he? Yeah. Him and Carrick, wasn't it?
And with Carrick, with Carrick, with Michael Carrick, and worked under Solskjaer and Magnich as well. So, I mean, when he's, I would honestly say when he came to Ipswich, which is December 21, not even 3 years ago. I'd honestly wager that 95% of Ipswich fans hadn't heard of him, honestly. And he was the guy back in those days when you saw him from a distance on Sky or whatever, when Man United were playing and Ragnich or someone was sitting, the three of them were sitting. From a distance, you think, hang on, Phil Neville. I didn't know Phil Neville was back at Man U. Do you know what I mean? From a distance. And so, whoever did the due diligence on him, I'm a credit to Mark Ashton, the Ipswich CEO, who obviously did due diligence on the guy. Absolutely incredible. And I think, it took everyone at Ipswich totally by surprise, I think, when he was appointed. But just since day one has been an absolute breath of fresh air and, changed the style of play. In deference to Paul Cook, who was and like I said previously, who was the manager before McKenna, some of those players that will be there Saturday, some of the mainstays and core, that's what will be there and will be playing Saturday. So you've got to give sort of props to him. But McKenna has just taken that on and just improved these players just out of all recognition. Incredible, really. And as for, I think Chelsea, I'm not really sure whether it was ever realistic he was going to go to Chelsea. I mean, Man United before.
Brighton as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, Brighton was the one. Brighton was the one because I didn't even dream that De Zerbi would go, but obviously something went wrong with De Zerbi and Brighton and he went. And that was the one I think that really concerned all Ipswich fans. It really was. So, when Brighton obviously chose to go in a different direction, I think we were all relieved. And not surprisingly, he was tied down to obviously a longer contract with obviously greater compensation written in for us. But he will manage at the very top. I say the very, very top. He's just got that X factor, really.
Nothing makes being outdoors better than having the right gear and the right crew. So here's an idea. Let Mountain Dew supply the gear and you bring the friends. Because when you buy specially marked multi-packs of Mountain Dew, you can collect points and earn epic limited edition outdoor gear. We're talking everything from custom Mountain Dew camp chairs and backpack coolers to exclusive Mountain Dew tents, fishing boats, and more. So buy Dew, collect points, get gear, and get outside with Mountain Dew outdoor gear.
Open to legal U.S. residents 18+. Subject to program terms at dewoutdoors.com and 12/31/24. Void or prohibited.
I don't need a VPN. I've got nothing to hide. Ha. This is what I used to tell myself before I hooked up with LibertyShield.com. Not only is my home internet now fully encrypted, but I can now access all the websites I want, whenever I want, and do so from absolutely anywhere. As a Liverpool fan, I love to know I can now watch every match, regardless of whether it's on UK TV or not. My Liberty Shield VPN makes sure nothing is blocked and guarantees me super fast streaming speed throughout that match. You can get connected right now with their software package, which includes a 48-hour no-obligation free trial and instant access to their apps for Apple, Android, Fire TV, PC, Mac and Android TV. Or go a step further like I have and get one of their pre-configured VPN routers. These small but powerful devices allow you to easily connect every device in your home to VPN, making it the perfect solution for smart TVs, Mac boxes and games consoles. Visit libertyshield.com today and use coupon code AIVPN25 to get 25% off at checkout.
I was going to ask on that because obviously we mentioned a number of different managers there, and I think it's always intriguing to see. I think the past managers who've had success and their kind of characters, their persona, how they've done things. This new group of managers that's coming through now, and I suppose the different way in which they engage with players, the different way in which they engage with the role. I suppose different levels of responsibility with the football clubs having different kind of footballing infrastructure set up now with the director of football and that much. But
that's right.
I just wanted to get an idea of what kind of figure he is in terms of. I mean, I've read stuff on him and being incredibly detail orientated and very, very enthusiastic in the coaching sessions. But in terms of sort of like what kind of manager he is, I suppose off the pitch, how he's really ingratiated himself with the club. I mean, could you talk to a little bit like that?
Yeah, I think so. I know he sort of doesn't live. He lives just on the edge of town, live to the town centre, I believe. So doesn't live far from the club. I think that was one of the reasons that one of the reasons given why he signed his new contract at the club. His family and kids are settled in Suffolk, settled in Ipswich. Absolutely brilliant for us. He just comes across as a very measured, obviously very tactically astute, tactically sound guy. And like I said, just command even at such a young age, just with his achievements so far, just commands so much respect.
Absolutely. I was going to ask as well, just around the players that he built this side around, and the ones that you have become accustomed to seeing week in, week out as sort of the fulcrum of your side. Who would those players be?
The fulcrum of the team. Yeah, the captain, Sammy Morsey, incredible. Sammy Morsey was out of favour at Middlesbrough when he came in at the start of 20. So 3 or 4 months before McKenna joined. He came in for Middlesbrough, formerly at Wigan, and he's just been transformed. I mean, a good player. You could see he was a good player in those early months when he came in, but he's just been transformed. He's obviously given the captain's responsibility. He is our midfield general on the pitch. Unfortunately, the wrong side of 30s, 32, coming up 33, I believe. But he is the heartbeat of the side. Likes the yellow card. It's good. He's in that central midfield, so would do. But I am so looking forward to see how he basically fares in the Premier League. What an absolute opportunity for the guy. Egyptian, but ironically not. Has been left out of the Egyptian squads. Really, I think he's made a handful of games for Egypt, and we all say, "Crikey!" Obviously with Mo Salah at Liverpool, but meeting at Liverpool, but we, as Ipswich fans, we sort of look to each other and basically say, "Well, crikey, Egypt must have some incredible central midfield players if he can't even get in the squad." But so much to our benefit because obviously he doesn't have to travel away. So
they don't seem to. I have to say, every time I watch AFCON, they don't seem to. It's usually someone hacking it up long to Salah to do the rest of the work.
No, that's true. Yeah, so maybe it is a style thing, but he is the fulcrum, the heartbeat, the leader, the absolute leader on the pitch. And it's difficult to say because we've made new signings. And sorry, the other would be as I mentioned before, Leif Davis, the left back. We signed him from Leeds for an absolute steal 2 seasons ago. I think just over $1 million. He has absolutely been, like I said, the assists king in both League One and the Championship. Got in the Championship team of the year, the EFL Championship team of the year. Absolutely outstanding player, and he's just improved. When he came, you could see he had a bit about him going forward. But McKenna, you can see has worked on his defence. Not that he defends much, but that might change this season. He's basically been playing, left wing back, but basically last couple of seasons has been playing ultimately as an out and out almost left winger almost. And then the left side of defence will just move across. But yeah, that will be an interesting dynamic to see how that fares going forward this season. But but like I said, I think if he has a half decent half of the season, he must be close to England. He's that outstanding. And other players, I would say, that's sort of fairly important, and maybe might not start on the right side. Wes Burns, similar, played right side, absolute pace to burn, very direct winger. I'm looking forward to seeing him, seeing how he's one player. I think, given his pace, I think that he could well potentially make an impact. I'd say those are three. Connor Chaplin as well. Connor Chaplin, he was 26 goals in League One. I think joint top scorer last year, 13 goals. Pretty much plays in that 10 role. But the other I can't leave him out. The other really real key signing we made was it was outstanding. Was Amari Hutchison, 20-year-old, signed from Chelsea, record signing, something like between 18 and 20 million. Had him on loan from Chelsea. Last season. And again, you could see how the work McKenna's done. Again, you could see such a really tricky player start of the season. Really, I wouldn't say he hadn't bought into the work rate, etc. press, but you could see after Christmas just a totally different player and absolutely outstanding. And he perhaps was more than anyone actually got us over the line in those last few games. Chipped in with some very important goals, assists. So again, really looking forward to seeing how he fares. So I would pretty much say those four other signings. We've signed Jacob Greaves, left centre half from Hull. Again, another one, highly sought after Championship player. Was in the Championship team of the year last season. I would pretty much think he would start. And the other is who will start, I'm sure, is Liam Delap, who we got from Man City. Again, 15 million there. Young. Young English born. I think he's played for Ireland like his father Rory did. Again, he looks young and hungry, but again, one of these players didn't really get much of a chance at obviously Man City. Was out on loan at Hull last season, so again, exciting to see how he does.
Yeah, slightly scary to be talking about Rory Delap's son, I have to say.
It's crazy, isn't it? I'll tell you what, Ari, I was hoping he'd come equipped with a long throw, but I don't think he has.
He doesn't. He's not learned that. I can't believe.
That's a shame, isn't it? Because that was a weapon, wasn't it?
I just had visions of Rory teaching his toddler that from a very young.
Yeah, do you know what I assume he hasn't, unless he's saving it for Saturday. Because I've seen him play in a couple of pre-season friendlies. And he hasn't. Mind you, he would be the sort of focal. He has been playing the focal number 9s with a couple of injuries, but he hasn't as yet. So maybe he's saving it for Saturday and he'll surprise us and launch one from level with the penalty area to the other edge of the penalty box, perhaps.
Yeah, a lot of players discover their long throw-ins against Liverpool. I have to say, I'm always bemused. Oh, okay, he's got a towel, has he?
Yeah, we'll see. Well, incidentally, that's an interesting thing because we have recently appointed for the very first time a set-piece coach. So that will be interesting to see. I think we've had. Nice. But when I say set-piece coach, we've obviously had a coach in set pieces, but a set-piece specialist coach. So that'll be very interesting to see how that develops.
Yeah, I remember Liverpool had a set-piece coach. I can just see here, I think it's Mark Hudson who's been appointed, right?
Yeah, Mark Hudson. Yeah, that's right.
Set-piece coach. I think Liverpool had a throw-in coach a number of years ago. I think it was a guy, his name was Groningen or something like that. And
but it's
they did improve. They did improve. There was a lot of, as you'd expect, online sort of ripping it out of Liverpool for having the audacity to try and do something.
Great foresight, and I think pretty much everyone's. It's so important now, so important, especially for us this season because obviously we've been used to pretty much possession stats in the last two. So League One we absolutely dominated, although we didn't win it, but we dominated, and pretty much in the Championship last year. So that'll be another interesting dynamic how we cope with obviously. not having the lion's share of possession, which I assume we won in the fair majority of games.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's about finding those marginal gains wherever you can. I think that's certainly what we've seen from clubs that have been promoted recently.
I think with Ipswich, you look at teams like, perhaps Brighton are put to one side because the players they've sold for money they've sold, absolutely incredible. They're scouting it, but for size of club, Brighton. You look at Brentford, you look at Bournemouth, you look at Fulham, are a bit more established, but Palace even are again a bit more established. But the size of club, if we can get up and if we can get a foothold and stay up, then this club could go anywhere. I'm not saying top six, but you look at the strides that Brighton maybe tailed off last season, but have made, and Brentford as well, and other clubs like that. But the infrastructure's there. If we can just get a foothold and stay up, this club could consolidate, hopefully.
Yeah, it's all important, absolutely. And you mentioned a couple, 3 or 4 players there that you viewed as key last season, and they're going to be key coming into this campaign as well. But at the end of last season, obviously the high of securing promotion, but I'm sure similar with the manager, right? Fans' thoughts quickly turned to, okay, how do we improve this squad? How do we make sure that we're as competitive as possible in the Premier League? I just wanted to ask you, based on the business you've done so far, and there's been a bit of it, as well as sort of making Hutchinson permanent as well. Do you think the club have addressed those main areas, or are there any other areas you
to a degree? I think, Harry, is no secret. I think they need another 3 or 4 in. Certainly a central striker, certainly a central midfielder, probably another wide player. So they're ultimately striving. I mean, we've been linked, and there's been all sorts of rumours about Sammy Smodics from Blackburn, who was obviously leading scorer in the Championship last season. I think he'd be a great asset, but I don't know what's going on there. Blackburn apparently are a bit of a nightmare to deal with, and so I understand that seem to be, continuously moving the goalposts on the fee there. And ironically, he played on Saturday and came on and scored, and he played last night in the League Cup and scored a couple as well. So they'll probably inflate the price even more. We've just been linked today with a loan, Kajus, the Swedish international from Napoli. We've been linked with him for a season loan. He's a sort of 6'2", seemingly like a box-to-box midfielder, which would be absolutely ideal, because we're probably, I know I spoke about Sammy Morsby, other than him, we're a little bit light in there. So I would certainly say I think the signings we've made are good solid signings. Obviously, other than Hutchinson, majority Championship signings. Although we did get Ben Johnson from West Ham on a free, who I think will be really good. West Ham fans were really sorry to see him go. He didn't really get a fair crack of it last season under Moyes. So we've got him. But a little bit more. Do you know what? A little bit more Premier experience would be great. But those players are few and far between, and obviously top dollar, aren't they?
Of course, yeah. Well, one thing that did catch my eye when I was looking at those players that had come in this summer, I imagine this points to kind of the same model that we've seen from lots of promoted clubs that have come up and been successful. And you mentioned Brighton, Brentford there. Is the age of those players, right? 20, 23, 21, 25, like with the exception of, I think it's Connor Townsend from West Brom, and Ben Johnson is obviously a little bit older as well. These are all young players who are, you'd imagine, is the view what I'm thinking? Young players can develop, sell for profit, reinvest.
Exactly, high resale. Exactly right. You've got to look. You've got to look at the worst case scenario. Look, the odds are that we won't survive. That adds up. The odds are that we won't survive. So you'd think these players develop. And, certainly the likes of Johnson to a degree, and the likes of certainly Delap and Greaves, high resale value. So I think there's looking at things sort of twofold there, really.
And you mentioned sort of a little bit about McKenna's style, sort of the way in which he likes his teams to play, and she also hinted a little bit at the fact that perhaps he'll go to a back three in the opening 2 games against the likes of Liverpool, the likes of City, certainly, which is interesting. And I wanted to sort of dive into that a little bit more in terms of, I think when newly promoted sides come up and they've seen their side playing such wonderful football, there's obviously that adjustment period as well around, are they going to try and double down on what made them successful in the previous campaign, or are you expecting to see quite substantial changes from McKenna in the Premier League?
I don't think there'll be substantial changes. I don't think you can call it a double down, but I think there'll have to be tweaks. Honestly, I think we saw it we played Nice, which is a good workout, one of the best pre-season. I don't usually take much from pre-season friendlies, but we played Nice last Saturday. They're Europa League, French League, Europa League side. A really good workout, and we went with. I mentioned Wes Burns. He didn't start. We went with Ben Johnson wide in a little bit more advanced role, and Axel Tuanzebe, the Man United ex-Man U player who came in on loan last season, obviously well known to McKenna. Came with an injury now, looks really fully fit, thought he's really good. And we played that three at the back. So that certainly would not surprise me if we started that way on Saturday. But I don't think there'll be a big double down in the style of play. But yeah, just a slight, I think, some tweaking to be done, I think. Yeah. Well, what was noticeable last year, we got turned over twice, but once properly by Leeds away. We played Leeds away, and we were sort of big, expansive and open, conceded early, and we had 4-0. Perhaps got away with it actually a little bit. So that was the one game where when you look at it, you thought, is this just a one-off, or were we perhaps a little bit naive in that game? I don't see that happening going forward in the Premier League. So it'll be interesting to see what he does, but it wouldn't surprise me if we started with a 3 on Saturday. It wouldn't surprise me.
Hey guys, it's Eddie Gibbs from Anfield Index here. I hope you're enjoying this podcast, and I'm sorry to call time on the show before it ends. In the current climate, it's tougher than ever before to offer podcasts for free. At Anfield Index, we produce over 75 free shows every month, which I'm confident is unparalleled in the LFC sphere. Whilst we'd love to offer everything for free, the production costs now make this impossible. That said, we don't want to follow the model of other channels and lock all of our content behind a paywall. So what we've decided to do is to continue offering every show for free, but cut that offering to 30 minutes on our longer shows. So to get all of our shows in full and enjoy the best of everything we have to offer, we really hope you'll consider supporting the channel and signing up at AnfieldIndexPro.com. For about the price of 1 cup of coffee, you'll get every podcast in full with 0 ads. You'll also get access to our LFC VIP community, where you can enjoy live podcasts, engage with our podcasters, and chat with other Reds in real time. So that website again, AnfieldIndexPro.com. Join today.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.